Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're Envy Board Gaming, and today we are reviewing Dog Park, which is published by Birdwood Games and designed by Lottie and Jack Hazel. I think I'm saying that right. Art is by Holly Exley, Dan May, and Kate Avery. So yeah, this is my most anticipated game. So we are reviewing this. We are not doing a how to play because we did a playthrough. So you kind of did like a quick overview of the game, like how to play. And also I'll say this is 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and plays in 40 to 80 minutes.
Yeah. So go ahead and check out our playthrough. That way you can get a feel of how it's played and decide whether or not it's a game for you. But before you go do that, we can give you our thoughts.
Yep. So, yeah, I was really excited about this game. I was really excited about this game.
Why were you so excited about this game?
Well, because it's got dogs in it and you're taking them for walks. And I thought it was super cute. And just like watching the videos of the designers, like they'd have like little kind of like sneak peeks, I guess, of like what it looked like or was talking about it. Yeah, and it was a Kickstarter. So just seeing that was like, you know, getting me excited. Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about the production of the game and the art of the game first. So what are your thoughts on the production, the quality of all the components, as well as the art for this game?
Okay, well, first I'll say the art, I think, is amazing. I think that the artist did a great job on that. There's so much detail to like all of the dogs and all the dog cards. So it's like each of them is, you know, like different. And I mean, they're different dogs, but they didn't just like slap just random picture of a dog on there. I feel like they took a lot of time to give each dog even kind of like personality in the cards. Like when you look at them, you're like, oh, this one looks like super happy. And like, I don't know. I felt like they put a lot of time and effort into the art, which I can appreciate. And I think the components itself were great components, like the wooden pieces, like how they had the, you know, the toys, the treats, the balls. Like I felt like they were all printed very well. It's not like they were like rubbing off or they looked cheap. So I think the components were great. So overall, I think they really did a great job in those two areas.
Yeah, I think the art does look really nice. I think it looks cohesive. I know they have like 3 different illustrators, but it all looks like it flows together really well, very cohesive. I really do like the iconography. It pops on the cards. Yeah. It's easy to read. You know, not a whole lot of, you know, the iconography it's just so intuitive, right? And then components, I think they did a really good job. Because of the game trays, you're able to set up the game really quickly. And I mean, I can get the game set up in 3 minutes, I would say 3.5 minutes maybe. Or maybe that's because we played it so much.
Like, it's nice, I mean, having like a 2-player game, you know, we each have our own like bone.
Right, you could.
With all of the different components in it, which is nice because you're not all grabbing from like a pile, the same pile, or reaching. It's like literally just right there.
Right, and there's plenty of components even at like a 4-player game. Sometimes you have to like, you run out, that kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, production was really nice, good card quality. Everything just was, I thought, top notch when it came to the art and to the production. So let's jump into your positives. What are your positives for Dog Park?
Well, positives, I do love the art. I love it's very colorful. I'm, you know, a big like table presence, colorful board type of girl when it comes to games. I love that they had like literally every dog possible in the game. Like they didn't just pick like just popular ones, but they literally like had every dog possible. And I will say, I think the turns are very fast. I like that the turns are fast, snappy. unless you're kind of like, you know, having some AP and not sure which dog you want in the bidding
but
part
I feel
of
like
it or
that's
something.
pretty minimal.
But it's very
very
minimal.
minimal if you have somebody like that. Maybe they're just always prone for that, but it is pretty minimal.
It is. So I feel like it's very fast. Even like in a 4-player game, it's fast.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it's easy to learn, very straightforward. I mean, the like different steps that you take for each round is the same. It's just, I felt like it was very easy to understand. I think it's easy to teach other people. So I think this is a good game too that you can teach people that maybe don't play board games that often. It's not, you know, it's a relaxing game too for me.
Right.
I feel like it is very relaxing. So those are my positives.
Yeah, for me, I appreciate the rule book. I thought the rule book was done really well. I think it flowed very well. I honestly barely had to go back and reference the rule book. The game is very straightforward and very easy to learn, very easy to... I don't want to say it's like super, super easy game. I would say this is a light, medium weight game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like...
It's not
very
light.
heavy. I mean, it's not too... It just flows so easily. They have it very streamlined. It's very streamlined, which I appreciate. I already mentioned that setup and teardown is very quick. So yeah, I appreciate that. I think I like the tension that can come in some games, especially when you were trying to bid for the different dogs that you want, or maybe the game does deliver on that to a certain extent, even going through the trails, and you have to go to a certain space, but you might not have a dog that lets you go to the same space as somebody else for free. So, you know, do I really want to spend a victory point in order to go there? So I think that there's a good mix of mechanics, right? You have the bidding, so there's that managing of your reputation points, there's the managing of your resources, there's the set collection of what kind of dogs do I want to have, there's almost like a little race element when it comes to the park, because or on your trail, your walk, because if you come in last, you're going to lose points. And then also, you know, just kind of planning ahead with those forecast cards and hopefully being able to put yourself in a position to take advantage of some of those things. So, but I really thought that it flowed very well together. The rule book was great. I think it's easy to learn and teach. So yeah, those are a lot of really good positives.
I also want to say too, I like that you can score points in different ways too. Like, and especially because like the breed experts, you get points there. You get points from your cards, your final scoring. You get cards throughout points throughout the game.
Right.
That's what I meant. But yeah, that you can just get points like in so many different ways, which is cool. And everybody is gonna get them in different ways.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then how about we go ahead and we talk about negatives. What are some negatives that you have for the game?
I think for me, the negatives would be the objective cards.
Okay.
I felt like they would have the experienced objectives and then just like the standard objectives. But with I felt like there was a lot of like repeats of kind of the same objective, but just like sort of different. And especially with like the experienced ones, like it seems like there's some that are easier than others, but you're still getting the same amount of points. And it may be like, maybe you'll get one and then I'll get one, and they're like, you know, one is more difficult, but like I said, you get the same amount of points. So I didn't think it was balanced, like the objective cards for how many points you were getting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Honestly, I feel like that was just my like only negative that I had, because it makes like the replayability like not that exciting, because it's like the objectives just, they're kind of the same, and I felt like there weren't very many objectives. Okay. If that makes sense.
Right. I have similar thoughts on the objectives. I think there's not very many objectives as a whole. I mean, there's I think maybe five of the standard, 5 experience, but maybe 6 of one, because I know one you don't use unless it's a 4-player game. So there's really, after you play this game a few times, you're going to have seen all of those objectives. And it is a little bit weird that, like, oh, you walk 7 different dogs or you walk 10 dogs total, but they're both going to give you 7 points. But I feel like it's a lot more work to walk 10 dogs total than it is to walk 7 different dogs.
Yeah.
Right? Or, you know, it's the experience versus the standard. They're almost copy and paste, just one's like, okay, have 3 dogs walk 2 times, whereas it's like, oh, have 2 dogs walk 2 times.
Right.
Like, okay, I just walk 1 dog 1 extra time and I get more than double the points. So I get 7 instead of 3. Yeah. So I do agree that there feels to be some balance issues there just with points. Like, oh, you just happen to get something relatively easy, even if it's an experienced one. There's a lot of times I was like, I just don't ever want to go for the standard one because I'm going to get more than double if I go for the experienced one, depending on the experienced one I had. If I have to win so many breeds, that might be difficult. If I have to win 3 or 4 breeds, that might be harder to do than to walk 10 dogs 10 times, walk 10 dogs, you know?
Right, yeah.
And so, that is a negative that I have, and replayability is my main concern for this game, just because we've played this already like 10 times. And so, having played it so many times, I've experienced a lot of stuff. And one thing I also have a concern about is just, you have a huge number of cards, like dog cards. Like, I don't know, I can't remember the exact number. It's like 160, it might be like 200 dogs in this game, right?
Right.
And in the base game alone, there's really not a ton of abilities. The abilities are very similar to one another. Like, collect balls, you get points. Collect treats, you get points. Toys, you get points. Sticks, you get points at the end of the game.
If you're walking, you get like
right
things.
Which is great and everything, but after a while, I'm just like, oh, it's, you know, I kind of, and I don't know if this is possible, and maybe I'm just being nitpicky, but I was almost wanting there to be some more abilities.
Yeah.
So when you add in the famous dogs in the European dog expansion, I almost always want to play with those just because it gives me a little bit more diversity with the abilities. I mean, that adds another 5 abilities into the game, which is better than, you know, just the ones that you have, because I feel like I'm going to get bored with just those basic abilities.
Right.
Another thing that I do have a negative is that there is quite a bit of luck with the game, right? Because when you're going for majorities of those breed masters, you know, you're just going based on those cards coming out. And there have been games where the top 1 or 2, and usually it has to deal with like maybe the toy dogs or something, because they're the lowest percentage of coming out. You might see 1 toy dog the entire game, and if you just don't happen to get it, you're just SOL, right? And so that person could just get 8 points in writing on that. And it's even with me actively trying to use the scout abilities out in the game to try and find it. But then I also have to weigh, like, is it really worth trying to go and find this dog just so I can tie you? Or, you know, do I focus on another strategy, right? I do like this game at 4 players. I am not a very big fan of it at 2. The main reason I don't like it at 2 is the bidding, because I feel like a lot of times, okay, you know where the auto walker's going to go. You might just wait for the other person to put their walker, so then you can bid as low as you can, you know, and get whatever you want potentially. And so I feel like there's not as much of a attention there during the bidding at a 2-player. Whereas at 4, I want to bid a little faster. I want to get out there and put my bid, because it's a better chance that maybe I'm tying somebody based on the points that I'm spending, you know, and you get to see more dogs when you're playing with more characters. So I do like the game at 4. It is my ideal play. We'll play it at 2. We've played it mostly at 2. We have played it at 4 as well, but mostly at 2. And it's fine. I just think it's better at 4.
I'd rather play it at 4 players instead of having that auto walker.
Right.
Like, I mean, I know he's meant to mess you up.
You just don't like people getting in your way.
But that's the thing. I felt like playing with 4 players was still better. Obviously, people are getting in my way if I'm playing with, you know, 4 players. But I felt like it was just, I don't know, it having the auto walker, he's kind of just like, he's just there, but it's more, it's more fun.
Right. It does make it more competitive as you're going through the track. So I get it, and I appreciate the auto walker. I just don't think even with the auto walker you get the same experience as if you had 4 players, or even if you just had 3 players. I think even at 3 players it would feel more, just because they're actual players, right? The forecasts can be a little hit or miss as well when it comes to luck, because like the first thing could be like, oh, you need this specific dog, but if that dog doesn't come up, it's like nothing really. That forecast doesn't really affect the round.
Yeah.
And so we ran into that quite a few times during games where we're just like, oh, that doesn't matter. It's not affecting the round. Like, whatever. This dog's not here. And then the other thing is that I prefer, even at a 2-player game, I prefer to use the plentiful location cards. I mean, I get that with the other ones, it always has a space that's like blocked that you have to skip over, and there's less resources out on the board, maybe less victory points out on the board. And with plentiful, I didn't see a big range of victory point difference from a 2-player game to a 4-player game, no matter what. So there was a 2-player game where we played with the plentiful parks, and I liked it more. I feel like I could be able to get some more resources. I felt like there was more stuff added on each card instead of stuff being taken away. So it kind of opened it up a little bit for me. So even though it says it's recommended to use the brown ones, I can't remember what they're called now, the routed route, I can't remember. Yeah. It says that's recommended for 1 to 3, but I would always play with the plentiful one. So I'll always play with the expansions just because I want the diversity, and I'll always play with those bountiful location cards just because I think there's a little bit more. And the thing is I laid those out between one set and the other, and they're almost identical. The ones just there's just not as much diversity as I wish I had in the game. So my biggest concern, and I'll wrap this up, is the replayability. Having played it already 10 times, I do feel like I'm kind of like, is there anything left for me to get out of it? So I'm hoping.
Well, besides the expansions, like I feel like if you don't have the expansions, there isn't much replayability.
Right. I would like to see more objective cards. I would like to see some different forecast cards. I would like to see, I don't know, maybe a little bit more mitigation of luck. I don't know if that's possible, but those are just kind of like my thoughts. But I thought the game was very streamlined. I think this is a really good low medium weight game. It's not hard to get into. If you love dogs, this is going to be your thing. I think so. I think it's a good quality. I'm not trying to bash it. I'm just thinking if you're a gamer that's looking for something that you're going to be able to play a lot, I just don't think this is going to be it. And so so that's just my thought on it. So let's go ahead and jump in to final scorings. Most anticipated game. What would you give Dog Park?
Okay. I've thought a lot about this. I think I would give it an 8.5.
8.5? Is this your now number 1 game of all time?
I don't think so. No,
No? Okay.
no, it's up there. Obviously, it's up there. I do have some things I would change about it.
I had to ask because it's a dog game, so I know you love it.
I do.
For me, I think I'm gonna give this a 7.3. I think this is a 7.3 for me. Okay. Just because of that replayability. Yeah. If there was some more diverse, I think it could be higher. But I think it's a solid game. I do. I think it's a solid game. 7.3 for me. And yeah, that's going to be Dog Park for us. Is there anything else that you would like to say about this game?
Just that I'm glad they're making more games with dogs in them. Because I feel like with board games, there's a ridiculous amount of cat games. And I'm like, not that I'm bashing cats. I have a cat. But I just think this is cool. When Dog Lover came out, I was like, oh, I love this game, and this is just there's more to it. Dog Lovers just, I still love it, but it's just cards.
This is coming from the lady who doesn't own a dog. We just have a cat.
We would have a dog if he would allow me to at some point. But we got a baby coming, so I'll hold off on the dog. But I love them obviously. So
right. So
yeah.
that's gonna be Dog Park. So please let us know, what do you think? What is your favorite dog game? Is this one that you're excited to pick up? Let us know down in the comments. And please like, comment, subscribe, and click the little bell icon so you get a notification every single time we post a video. So then we can, help get this amazing content out to the world, right?
Yes.
So until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.